So here's something I think is neat about these early issues too. Uh, Luke just got out of the storm using the Force, and right after that, they were saying, this was very difficult for him. He has, he may not be able to do this again, but he's slowly learning. I like that in the early days of the Force, it was a big deal to know anything. You know what I mean? It's like being able to do that was amazing. And then you watch the
And
prequels, and
he's
people
actually
are
been
just like
training.
they're bouncing around
Yeah,
like
doing flips.
cartoon characters, and it's just ridiculous. And it takes all the magic out of the Force. The Force should be something that really takes effort. It's not just something
Well,
anyone can just do.
because he doesn't have anyone to teach him. I like how the comics sort of play through this idea that he's sort of like intuitively developing these techniques and practicing from what little he does know, so that you really get that sense of growth, the sort of D&D thing. It's like he's leveling up, like you can see it.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I'm not trying to jump on the Ray hate train or anything, but compare that to Ray, who's like got zero training and is doing all kinds of
Well,
insane stuff.
I'm okay with Ray too, but what Ray could benefit from is you need those expanded stories in between. The biggest problem from Force Awakens to Last Jedi is that it's like the next day. It's like, well, wow, this whole trilogy takes place over like a weekend. It's like you've without if you don't have those stories that happen in between, then you don't even have the head canon that people can develop to sort of understand that development from one story to the next. That's the biggest problem I have with those movies.
And the Force has just been so played out by now. Because like when you see Empire as a kid, not back in those days before all this other stuff existed, and Luke pulls the lightsaber out of the snow with his hand, you're like, whoa!
Yeah, you're
I
not
didn't
even
know the
sure he
Force
can
could
do
do
that.
that.
Like,
Like the Force can
whoa.
do that. That's cool. That's the kind of stuff that's neat, And but now it's just like, oh, the Force can do anything.
Oh yeah, I can jump 10 stories high. It's like, why can't you fly then?
I can jump off of a skyscraper and land on a craft that's going like nine
Yeah.
thousand miles an hour.
Why do any Jedi's ever die from falling, which most of you do all the time?
A lot of people pick on the sequels 7 through 9 for being dumb with the Force, but the prequels were worse. Like
Yeah.
some of the stuff they were doing in that was just cartoonish. It was so ridiculous.
Well, there's no stakes when you can do stuff like that.
Oh, and it drove me nuts. I hate to go on a rant, but like you never felt like they were in any danger. Like jump off a building and land on a speeder, like that should be scary, but it just seems like
Yeah.
a
The only danger they were in was that every now and then they'd be just sort of flipping around like it was nothing, and someone would chop their arm off, and you'd be like, "Holy shit!" Like, but there were never any stakes beforehand, because until that happened, they acted like everything was fine, and then someone would chop both of their arms off in
I
one
hated
motion.
in I think it was Revenge of the Sith. I haven't seen them all in so long. Even at the very beginning, they're in this big ship with just empty corridors, just nothing in it. This droid ship is huge and has apparently nothing in it. And they get stuck in a trap. Like, oh, this happens every time, like they're not worried at all about this.
Mm-hmm.
And then they find Dooku and they're acting like it's not a big deal. And at the worst is when Grievous later, like Kenobi's above Grievous on these pipes or something, and he's down there. That should have been a scary moment because Grievous is like all these lightsabers. He's killed all these Jedi. That should be a big deal. But
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan just drops down. It's like, haha. And it's like it's not even scared at all of Grievous. It takes all the scariness or the excitement from the film. You want to feel like there's a danger if you're going to have a fight scene.
Yeah, I mean, you want the Jedi's to be badass in that way, but you still want to feel like that it's possible for them to get hurt.
What's
It's a weird
badass is like
disconnect because they do get hurt, but they never seem to address it beforehand that that's a
Obi-Wan never
possibility.
gets hurt.
That's true. He doesn't get his hand cut off.
But
He's
like
like, well,
it's
because I'm not
badass to
stupid.
be vulnerable and then still do the fight. That's what's badass. Like
Well, that's the Fast and
Arnold
the
versus
Furious
the
problem.
Predator. No, Arnold versus the Predator was badass because he was totally outgunned, but he stood his own. That's badass. But
Yeah, there's like if you watch like Fast and Furious and The Rock is fighting Vin Diesel, it's not badass because they have it in their contracts that it's going to be a draw. Neither one of them can get hurt. Neither one of them can lose the fight, and you know that going in. There's no stakes. They're like, that's why I'm such a badass. It's like a badass can take a hit. You guys are prima donnas. You have it in your contract that you can't take a hit. Like, what a diva clause to have in a contract. What a boring fight to watch just two muscle divas tussling with each other and knowing neither one of them can ever get hurt.
Muscle
Like
Beavis.
Jesus,
I like that.
they are.
That's fun.
Just like we're just gonna kind of wrestle. Like I feel like the purpose of this wrestling is different than fighting. Is all I'm saying. When you're
there's an
grappling
undertone.
and there's no way either one of you can get hurt, what you're doing is different.
They did a American Dad
No,
episode.
no shame to it.
They
Just
did a whole
admit.
American Dad episode where they found a script to one of the Fast and Furiouses that it was unedited. The European cut was unedited, and there's all kinds of like gay scenes in it and stuff.
I'm just saying
it makes perfect
they
sense.
brought Jason Statham into that, and Jason Statham's been doing that for years. He's been doing a lot of like just shirts and skins oil wrestling with guys.
Like,
in
can I take my
movies.
shirt off and get shiny? Can I do that?
Go
please?
ahead. Yeah. I mean, if that's what you're into, go for it. But let's all admit what this is all I'm saying. It's not a fight because I know none of you can lose the fight. So, like a real action star, that's why Die Hard was such a revelation for action movies, because it was Schwarzenegger was the action guy before that because he was the Terminator, even when he was the good guy. And you're like, that's so badass. That's pretty cool. Not that he didn't get hurt. He did get hurt and stuff, but he was like superhuman. But then the whole Bruce Willis thing in Die Hard was the illusion that he was a regular guy. Now, a regular guy couldn't do what he did in Die Hard, but it was the illusion that that's what was happening.
No, not a regular.
I mean, if you've seen me in tank top, you know.
Yeah. This shirt is padded to make me look overweight, but deep under this, nothing but muscle.
Really. If you've seen me with no shoes on and just a wife beater, you'd be like, is that Bruce Willis from now? Not from 1988. Is that circa 2021 Bruce Willis? Like, no, he's much older than me. Like, yeah. Just sad.
It's good stuff.
But that was what made it a fun action movie, because he was getting shredded. Like he had no shoes on, so he was getting his feet tore up, and just through it was if we were talking about D&D leveling up, it's like by the end of the movie, it's like he was just a sweaty mess covered in filth from crawling through air ducts and stuff, and even his wife beater had ripped off. Like, good God. But you felt it. It wasn't realistic, but it felt real because you knew this guy had just had the tar kicked out of him through the movie.
I saw something weird about Bruce Willis the other day. It's weird that we brought him up. Let me see if I can find this. I was listening to Lust for Life, the Iggy Pop song. You know that song?
Oh, yeah? No.
You don't know that song? You should go listen to that song, because it's like, in my mind, the best Iggy Pop song. And I was reading about it because I'm like, this is such a good song. Why is it? I've never heard I mean, I like that Candy song, all right, but I never really heard any Iggy Pop songs that kind of are like, man, this song's amazing. And then I looked, it's like, oh, David Bowie co-wrote it. Okay, that makes sense. But then they have other versions of it in the wiki. And Bruce Willis covered the song for the Rugrats movie. So Bruce Willis is singing this Lust for Life song on Rugrats. Yeah, I'm
familiar with that version.
Oh, so, I've got that album.
Oh, that was on the Return of Bruno.
And I forgot all about Bruce Willis being a musician. Remember, he did a blues band or something with his harmonica and stuff. I forgot all about that.
That was the album title, Return of Bruno, when he did that back in the 80s.
That's what a strange world.
Well, I get that. You're famous and you feel like doing something, and people let you do it and they'll pay you to do it. Why not do it?
Tom Jones also covered that song, but that was back in the 90s when he was covering everything.
Mm-hmm.
They're like,
he covered The Art of Noise.
Let's get Tom Jones to cover like all these crazy popular songs.
He didn't.
To be ironic,
he didn't cover The Art of Noise. He with The Art of Noise covered that Prince song. That's what they did.
Oh, Kiss or whatever.
Have to be rich to be my girl. You don't have to be cool to rule my world.
Now, that almost sounds like an actual Tom Jones song more than a.
That's what I mean. It was a good one.
It was a perfect cover, because
I love Prince, but I don't like that song. So that was a perfect cover because they actually made that. I hate that song.
Really? I like that song. The video is fun.
I don't like the Prince version of that song.
Oh, well, I can't help you then.
I like a lot of Prince. I'm sorry, but I don't like that song.
I love
The Art of Noise featuring Tom Jones. That's awesome.
I will grant you that Prince wrote some songs that other people covered that I liked better than his versions. Like, especially Nothing Can Compare to You.
He certainly is a great songwriter.
I mean, Feel For You. Like, who did that? That was Shaka Khan. I like her version of that better than his. But
It
Kiss,
was like a
look,
superpower. He's like, I like that girl. I'm gonna write her
yeah, he
a
wrote
top 10
Manic
hit
Monday and
song.
stuff just like every time.
Yeah,
It's like,
just because. Here you go. I wrote it like on a napkin. Here you go. Take that with his phone number at the bottom.
yeah, take some of my garbage. Have a
Yeah,
hit.
it was like a divinity. It was like I will touch it and it will be amazing for you. Just remember,
That's true stuff, man.
he's awesome. I just don't like. I just didn't like Kiss. I didn't like that song.
Well, on this point, we will have to disagree. I didn't like the Batman soundtrack though.
That's okay.
That's a Prince thing I don't like.
It's okay,
Or
but
no.
from a Prince perspective, it's not a
Mm.
great album.
Now you don't like Kiss, but you think that's okay. We're gonna have to depart
I don't know. There's
ways
something
here.
really annoying to me about the way he sings that song. You don't have to
Watch
be
the video, man, because he's just so cool in it.
me.
The
He's
expressions he
never
makes and stuff. You can
he's
tell
never not cool.
he's got a good
I
sense of
just
humor too, though. You
I
know what I
just
mean?
don't like the way he sings it. I'm not saying he's not cool. I'm not cool.
Just
Like
far be it from me to say
it's
Prince
between
isn't
the
cool.
two of us. Prince definitely wins. I just don't like the way he sings that song.
And that's okay. Let us know what you guys think about Kiss. Do you like that song or not?
Like
Watch the video if you
I
can
would like to
find it.
close this particular episode on that. Like in the comments, please everybody talk about whether or not you think Prince's version of Kiss
His
works
videos weren't on
versus
YouTube.
Tom Jones's
I don't know if
vocals.
they are now after he's passed, but he didn't let any of his videos be on YouTube, which drove me nuts because I'm like, I want
Yeah.
to see when doves cry. Like, oh nope, can't do that. He
They
doesn't
really
allow it.
protected his catalog, yeah.
I don't know if that's true now or who owns that stuff now. I don't know anything about that. But
I can't
anyways,
remember. At
anywho's.
least after he died, they were letting a lot of his stuff out there at the time for people as a tribute. I don't know if it's still out there or not. But buy it, it's good stuff.
But my point is, I thought the Force was cool when it was not overpowering. Like all things, and it's subtle. It's neat because you're like,
Well,
man,
when there's mystery,
yeah.
but
But you
like you
start
said,
just throwing mountains around, you just becomes
you,
uncool.
well, you said it. It's all about stakes. It's like it's not that they over explain the Force, which they did do in those movies. It's that you never feel like anybody's in real danger. Like they aren't until they are, and it seems random in those movies. Like you have to have defined stakes. We have to have a relatable sort of thing going
Even the
on.
pod race, like I know that's a kids movie, kind of, but it'd been cool. Like some of those wrecks looked like someone. They don't have to show someone dying, but make it look like, oh yeah, people are dying on this race.
Yeah, because
It's
some
a
of them
big deal.
did. Like you could have gone back. Some of those guys definitely died in that race,
Yeah, I never
and they
felt
don't
that
make a
though.
thing.
I
Yeah,
never felt like.
because it's played for laughs. The whole scene. It's supposed to be the dramatic centerpiece of the whole movie, and it's played for laughs.
So there you go. Tips to you, Mr. Lucas, for when you take over Star Wars again, which people keep saying you're going to do.
Yeah, which you won't do, but whatever.
Now you don't know. He might.
I'm pretty sure.
You don't know.
I'm pretty sure. It'd be a weird thing. He would be boss. I'd give it to him if he sold something for $4 billion.
And then they asked
then
him to come
after
back.
like 10 years, they're like, will you come back and be in charge of it? He's like, yeah, sure.
So,
And pay
no,
me to
you
run it?
You got another $4 billion?
Yeah, I'll do it for $4 billion. That'd be hilarious. Yeah, I would not. I'd never say another cross word about it. I don't have that many bad words to say about Lucas
then
anyway. But
Lucas could join
like
the space race with all the other big billionaires that are in it right now.
Yeah, right now, like
he should. He'd make more sense to be going into space.
I
than
love
some of these
George
guys.
Lucas because he'd be the last guy to do that kind of shit. Like you can say what you want, but he gave most of the billions that he made off of selling Star Wars to charity. That's more than most of these billionaire guys do.
Yeah, have you given $1 billion to charity, Sean?
Maybe
Have you
I
given
did.
$1 billion to charity?
I might.
Selfish bastard.
Yeah. I'll write an IOU right now to charity.
Yeah, I've got a check written out to it right now.
It's a check written out payable to charity. $1 billion.
And the date to be determined.
Signed by Sean Schmilber. What was that last part?
Sean Gilburn.
Schmon Schmilburn. Oh, I don't think that's your real name. It's like, well, that's not my real checkbook either. So whatever. He had
Uh,
checks printed out with the name Schmon Schmilmern on them. What an
well,
asshole.
I'd have given the money to charity, but I spent it all on these checks.
Yeah,
It's not
sorry.
easy having fake
Yeah,
checks made.
it costs like a couple $100 to get fake checks printed out.
I like Grogu back there. You're back to your
Oh
room
yeah.
again.
Yep. Not because I got my Wi-Fi fixed, but because I got an additional WAP installed in my studio so that I
Oh,
can plug
nice.
directly into it.
It's nice to see all the, all that stuff again. Not
I
that your
like it.
books. Watch the watch along gang videos, guys. You'll see his other room where it's just like this enormous library of books behind him. He looks like a wizard.
I enjoy that background, but I do like recording in here better. This is a better space because that's my actual work from home office. So I have to push my work from home stuff out of the way to record there. And I like that being my dedicated office space.
My space is in a bedroom because I don't have an office. But that's cool.
Well,
Maybe this show will take off and we'll be able to build a studio building.
we'll build big studios like real YouTubers do.
I know you see some of these guys setups and you're like, that's the nice room, and then they actually show you around. They're like, they have a warehouse.
Yeah,
They
you
shoot
kind
in
of
a warehouse.
it looks like a bedroom, and then they pull out, and it's really just a sound stage.
You're like, what on
What's
earth?
happening? Yeah, it's got to look relatable, but
I don't want people to
Jesus Christ,
get the wrong impression.
yeah, this isn't the Philip DeFranco show. We don't have that kind of money.
All right, kiddos. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think.
Always enjoy it.
Hit that subscribe and stuff. Leave
Do
us
that,
some
yeah.
comments. I'm
Drop
sorry
us
it's
a
been a
line. Let us
minute.
know.
Yeah, we'll be on it more. We'll try to get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, we're always producing content, just not always for a particular channel. So that's a little bit hard to understand.
Yeah. So if we're not on here,
But
we're
check
on
out
Watch
Watch
Along
Along.
Gang. So check that
We
out.
did a lot of stuff for Watch Along Gang, so hopefully check that out and see if you like it. We'll try to put a link up so you can check out that channel. I'm really happy with some of that stuff. It's different because we're poking along with like movies and things, as opposed to this where we poke along with comics.
Like and subscribe.
Snoop.